Holy God, we want to thank you that you are willing to be with us, that you're willing to bear with us through all of our problems, our stubbornness, our unwillingness to work with you. We thank you for the opportunity today to renew our relationship with you. Because today is the day of renewing covenants. In Jesus' name, amen. Could you just translate a little bit louder? Yes, yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we've been discussing the subject of adultery. Several people have not understood why. I hope as time goes on, Justina will be able to explain that for us. So just a little bit louder. It's just that the noise behind me. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. So, as we've been speaking about the subject, it's come to my attention that my understanding of the subject and your understanding of the subject is very different. Just want to remind ourselves that the first mention in the New Testament, Matthew 5, is in relation to the subject or the sermon that we call the Sermon on the Mount. We all need to be clear that this is a dialogue between God and Israel. And all the various sub-elements of that conversation that goes right to the end of the chapter. Sure. We're going to take a pause. We have a technical problem. So we need to remember that this sermon is a conversation between God and Israel. And we are just inserting ourselves into a part of that conversation. Hopefully, we all know that the Sermon on the Mount spans 3 chapters, 5, 6, and 7. All of that is about the relationship between God and their people. Just as an aside, if you turn to chapter 7, the last two verses, 28, 29. And it came to pass when Jesus had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine. That's the congregation. Because he taught them as somebody who had authority and not as the established teachers. And when he speaks about authority, it doesn't mean clever. It's speaking about someone who can be clearly seen to be speaking on behalf of God. Because that's what a teacher is supposed to do. We all know that. When you come to the desk and you're teaching, if you don't feel that you're speaking on behalf of God, we'll finish the sentence there. Otherwise, you'll be too scared to get up. So, we're looking at the subject of adultery. And through public and private conversations, we've had a number of different understandings of what adultery is. So I want us to understand it with the following synonym, which is cheating. We've discussed and established, hopefully in agreement, the scope of adultery. It's cheating between two married people. And one of them is having a relationship that is, we'll just say wrong, without defining what wrong is. So once you take this definition, if you just took the word married out and we put friends, you'd see that it all works perfectly well. what happens when you're a good teacher. They come to you, beseeching you. Um, can we see that if we just substituted married, look this way, not that, married for friends, it would all work. So we could spiritualize adultery, turn it into a concept of broken relationships. And it seems to me that a lot of the disagreement that we've had is because people are doing that. They're broadening or spiritualizing the concept of what adultery is. And when I say that, I don't mean spiritualizing it into the realm of the church and God. It should be clear to all of us that when God speaks about adultery, as is being done here in this passage, and several Old Testament ones, that it's always done in the framework of marriage, not friends. We developed this idea of cheating, and this is where things began to go wrong. It wasn't me, it was one of you. I don't know why we laughed. Pick the word sexual. Sexual cheating. And then someone picked the word emotional. This is emotional cheating. And we're talking specifically in the context between two people who are married. So we had the word married here, and I put it could work with friends. But I want to put another relationship. Cohabit. Married, cohabitation, friends. And some strange parents, they're strange, think it also applies in the relationship between them and their children. When their children come of age, whatever that means for the parent, and that child wants to move away or break away from that relationship, some strange parents can think about it in terms of adultery or cheating. And if you as a parent have said to yourself, I have lost my child, you're one of those strange ones who have applied this model of adultery and put it into your relationship with your child. And I would suggest it's wrong to do that. That maybe you need to reevaluate what parental and child relationships are supposed to be and how they're supposed to function. So that was just a side hustle. Might get something out of it. Who knows? So, sexual and emotional. I didn't understand what those terms meant. And after some brief conversation, we got to physical and thoughts. Some people, I hope they don't take this badly, it's not meant to be disrespectful, seemed confused between what thoughts are and what physical is. And just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean, just because you have a thought and you have a physical response, which you will, invariably, that's how lie detectors work. So polygraphs work on the principle that every thought produces a physical reaction. So to separate cheating into these two areas or these two domains means that when we write thoughts, it's not speaking about a physical response that's connected to the thought. Otherwise, there'd be no difference between the two um, areas of cheating. Put your hands up if you don't know what I'm talking about or you're confused, because this is a recap. I need to see the face with that hand at the back. Can you shout your name out? Sorry. Vin. Vin. So the last class didn't mean anything to you because this is just a recap, yes? Were you here in the last class? So, tell me where you got lost. The term adultery is mentioned in the Old and New Testament. We spoke about that. I've said that adultery is cheating. Are we okay so far? Someone defined this cheating in a very specific way. It's really a dictionary definition that it's cheating between two people that are married. You okay so far? And that cheating is related to relationships. You okay so far? Yes? So we then try to understand what types of cheating there could possibly be. Someone said sex. That's sexual. Is that okay? You know what sex is? And then someone else said emotional or emotions. Do you know what those are? Yes? No, you don't know what emotions are? Get the mic. Before you speak, I've drawn a line here. Everything above this line, is all that okay? Yes? So the problem is here. Go ahead. Tell me what the issue or confusion is. 1 second. You've got to press it on. You have to press it. The helper should do that for you.
I don't understand how someone cheats emotionally. That's what I don't understand.
So, you're okay with that one, sex, and you're not okay with this one. You didn't say it's wrong, you questioned it. Thank you for highlighting that. So, this is as far as we've got. Then people started asking things like McDonald's, KFC, masturbation, gambling. People started asking, are those forms of adultery? So we had food, self pleasure, and let's just call it bad habits. Is everybody okay with those three titles? I think I said gambling, masturbation, and KFC. So I've given more easier words to swallow. So I don't know how we're going to do this. Let's do a vote. You're married, and one of you loves food. Is that Does that meet the criteria or definition of adultery? Put your hands up if you think yes. Okay, so everybody said no. So that's the question. Is it adultery? If I can spell it correctly. And the answer is no for food. Remember, this is not a conversation about what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm asking, is it the definition of adultery? Because we all know it's not good to eat KFC. I hope we all know that. If you don't, I'm telling you now, you shouldn't be doing it. Okay, self pleasure. That adultery. Put your hands up if that is adultery. Masturbation, so that we're all clear. So, put your hands up if you don't know. So, someone thinks it might be. Put your hands up if it's not adultery. Okay, so everybody says this is not adultery. Can we just say no to bad habits because it's so obvious? So, in this definition, when we spoke about adultery, there are some important words. And that's rule number. You okay? Rule number 1. How do you know what the important word is? Let's do a bit of Millerite stuff. How do you know what the most important word is? All the teachers should put their hand up because they should be able to answer that. Curtis. So you'll press it on and you'll press it off, yeah? Oh, he leaves it on. Oh, okay. You do it.
You consider the topic you're discussing.
So I'm going to say the same thing slightly differently. That's the correct answer. To know what the important word is depends on the question you're asking. Whatever you're asking will define or guide you to what the important word is. So when we talk about these three that we've just got on the board, is married the important word? Put your hands up if married is the important word. Don't do it. Don't follow. Put it down. No, married is not the important word. Is relationship the important word? Having a relationship that's wrong. I'm going to say yes. We're in disagreement. So, in the context of all of these, I want to suggest it's about relationships. So, someone asked me yesterday, didn't ask me, they just said, I didn't understand anything in that study, explain it to me. So, I asked some questions. The person want to volunteer themselves and say, tell us what the questions were, because I can't remember them all. They weren't the only person in the group, so someone else who was there could answer as well. So they could be anonymous. Does anybody want to? There were several of us in the conversation. So whoever puts their hand up and says yes doesn't mean that that's the questioner. Any of you who were there? No? Who are you talking to, Regina? Yourself? Someone at the back? Okay. Nobody? Yesterday? Yesterday? The people who are in the conversation know who they are. Okay. They're not going to volunteer. No, no. None of the three of them are going to put their hand up. I'll do it then, if I can remember. I started off with some gentler ones, so I'm just going to go to the hard ones now. Porn. So one of the partners gets into porn. Is that adultery? So I have to move this and put it here. Is that adultery? Put your hands up if you think watching, or however you want to conceptualize it, getting into it, is porn adultery? Put your hands up. Just one person says that. Two people. Put your hands up if porn is not adultery. Okay, more people. So I'm going to go with no. Then I ask the question, I don't know if that's the correct spelling. Prostitution. One of them visits a prostitute. Is that adultery? Because someone said, why is the porn adultery? Because the majority said it wasn't. I'm just putting what you said. Is prostitution adultery? Put your hands up if it is. So most, put your hands up if it isn't. Okay, so most people say it is. Sorry? Not yet. So, give me a second before I get into trouble. So the next one, I think I asked this one. I'll ask it now anyway. You sleep with your dog. Is that adultery? Put your hands up if you're sleeping with your dog is adultery. Okay, we've got lots of people speaking. I don't know why. Listen to my words. Don't look at the picture. Don't look at the screen. You sleep with your dog. That's the technical definition of it. Beasts. Sleep with beasts. Is that adultery? Put your hands up if that's adultery. Put your hands up if it's not adultery. It is. It's not. It's 50-50. Okay, we'll say we don't know. So, most people said pornography is not adultery. So, I'm going to go back to this one again. Self-pleasure. We'll do this vote again. Is self-pleasure, masturbation, adultery? Put your hands up if it's adultery. Right. Nobody said yes. Put your hands up if it's not adultery. Okay. So this, we're all clear on this one. So I want to pick up these two. So this porno video that you watched was of your partner. They sent you a video of themselves. It meets the criteria of pornography, I believe. Now is the porn adultery? Put your hands up if it's not adultery. Okay, so it's not adultery. We've got the correct tick. So what about if it's some famous person? I don't know. Now is it adultery? You looked at this person. Okay, so now we're going to say depends. Let's go back to masturbation. So when you masturbated, you were thinking about your partner on the beach together. All those good memories that you had. Is that adultery? No? So, next day when you had masturbation, or you masturbated, you were thinking about that same porn star. Now, is that adultery? All the people that said no, has that now become yes? Has that now become yes? You were adamant before that it was not adultery. And when I said porn, you were adamant that it only afterwards. You said depend. Okay, so now this depends. Yes? Prostitution? So everybody's sure about that one. Bestiality? What does what mean? Nobody knows what bestiality means? You don't know what it means? Sex with dogs. Oh, good. Not just dogs. They're just the most popular ones. Let me check. Okay, so this is the issue about relationships. What does that mean to you? Relationships. So I'll ask another question. You've been married a few years and your marriage has gone stale. Boring. When bread goes stale, not fresh. You must have a word for stale. But just for the other translators too. Does everybody know what I mean by your marriage is stale? If you're an English speaker. Yes? Who's experienced that if you were married? None of you have experienced that in your marriage. Are you lying? Oh, you've. Oh, we don't have a problem in the movement. Come on. Okay. So, in your marriage, it's gone stale. You don't talk to one another except about the shopping and the bills. So, you start m- missing the desire and the need to talk to somebody. You end up really slowly becoming friends with someone at work, and that friendship grows. Never sexual. Don't find the person attractive, but they have a great, as people say, they have a great personality. And that's a cliche. But you become really good friends with them. And all the things you used to share with your partner that you're supposed to share with them, we'll call it companionship. Because that's the word that several of people here who are single have used. That's what they want, companionship. Now, your work colleague is your companion, but there's no sex. No, some people don't like flirting. There's not even any flirting. So, is that adultery? Put your hands up if that's adultery. Like one person. Let me ask a couple of. Let me ask a different question. Are you cheating on your partner? They deserve something and you're not going to give it to them. Are you cheating them? Put your hands up if you're cheating. So all those people who said yes, cheating, you're saying it doesn't meet the criteria of or the bar of adultery. So I want you to ask yourselves, when you think in your mind, you like saying that, that you've got some image of what adultery is. And it all seems to be about sex. Because if you look at that definition, sex isn't there. It just says people who are married, one of them is having a relationship that's wrong. And many of you who said, I call it friendship, you said it's not adultery for A, but you said it is cheating. Hopefully you can self-analyze, and that's what many of you did. Because in the back of your mind, this definition here is not accurate. There's only one definition. That's the only definition there. Because what you've put is an extra word. What's the extra word that you've put in? That I haven't. What word? Sexual. So we'll put here sex. All of you have put is having a sexual relationship. And you're saying that's wrong. But that's not the definition that we came up with, that you all agreed to. Doesn't have to be sex. It has to be a relationship. That's what you said. Okay, so I'll give a pause now because people have got questions or disagreements. Go ahead, Curtis.
I didn't catch the conclusion of what you were saying about your coworker. It was the framework in that you just develop a really strong friendship.
Not
But
just that.
is there any attraction involved? Any
Yes.
feelings? Okay.
The attraction is they're a good listener. No, there's no danger. They are obese and unattractive physically. Most women don't like beer-bellied men. They're not just good friends. They're a good listener. And more than that, you begin to get to a place that you believe they understand you. And your partner no longer understands you. And when you need something, you turn to this person, not your spouse. Is that, I've called friendship, is that adultery? And according to the definition that we had, it is. Because you're in a relationship with somebody gender is wrong. And if you were to ask your partner, do you mind me telling this person all my dreams, my hopes, my wants, and not you? What would they say? You know the answer because you just have to do the golden rule trick and ask yourself the question. So here, when we spoke about cheating, most people said emotional cheating doesn't meet the criteria or the bar of adultery. Or they didn't know what it meant. So now we've explained a little bit about what it means. So hopefully that answered your question. Any other people got questions?
So, if you could draw a line between friendship and what you described, what would it be?
You won't like my answer. So, a point and a period. The problem is, when you're in it, you don't know. By the time you get to the place where it's too late, no, by the time you get to the place that you know you're in, it's happening, it's already too late. So the problem is at the very beginning. But you don't see that. And when I say that's where the problem begins, you can develop a super argument to say, of course it doesn't begin there. It's at the end. Because all relationships start off innocently.
I guess what you could get to the place is if you're married, just don't have friends.
Yes. So I just want to ask one more thing about this friendship. So I hope I don't say anything wrong. You're a heterosexual couple. Can I say that? And the person who's doing this is the wife. Can I say that? Is that okay term, wife? Just want to make sure my terms are correct. No, seriously. And things have gone bad, and you've got this friendship with a work colleague, and you're now doing things with this friend that's crossed the boundary of what you should be doing with your spouse. Not because you're doing it with them and your spouse, you're just not doing it with your spouse any longer. So if we're okay with that dynamic, this friend is a man. Does that make a difference? That it's a man? Yes? Does it make a difference that he's an obese man that you find physically unattractive? No difference.
No, there's no difference.
No difference. Okay? This friend is a woman. Does that make a difference now? It's all okay? Oh, so you're doing exactly the same activity, and now because it's a woman, it's all okay. But when it was a man, it's not okay. If that was your answer, going to be rude. You need therapy. Not you need therapy from someone like Tina who understands about the difference of gender and sexuality and all of that stuff. Because you're sexist. You've got a one-track mind of sex. Because to say it's fine with a woman but not with a man, it's because you've tucked this concept in, I can never sleep with a woman, but I could sleep with an obese man when I'm desperate. And so you have this concept that, and several of you whispered it, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to do this with a man, but not with a woman. And either we're going to use some methodology and follow some rules, or we're not. Now, if you want to make these definitions into something that's crazy to fit your strange views of relationships, we could do that. But the definition as it is, if it's correct, then you should have equal concern because it's an equal crime if it's this friend is a man or a woman. The crime was the talking. Not that the talking will lead to the bedroom. If you see it, talking goes to bed, then bed becomes your definition. Then you're forced to put that word sexual in there. And there are no different types of cheating, it's only sex. So, I don't know if we've got one question, but before, we'll do Tina first. Tina had it ages ago. Pass. Which was what?
Which was
At the end.
It's-
When you wake up to the reality of it and you're in the mess,
that's
when it's
when
gone
it's
too
a
far.
problem. Okay.
So to Tina, as we're going to Tina, without getting complicated, remember we've got the porn and the self-pleasure, and we've got depends. Just for your consideration, just this once, I'll give you my thoughts. Porn is not, prostitution is not, bestiality is not, and self-pleasure is not. That's just my thoughts. So, all cases, all cases, all the time, anytime. Tina, that's just my thoughts.
I just wanted to ask or just get a clarification on something. People have best friends, so they are married with people and then they have best friends.
So that's something, that best friends, best friends.
A person who's married, not that married to, and then they have a best friend. They do certain things with their best friend that they don't do with their wife or husband. They talk about certain things that they don't talk about. When they talk, they don't talk about with their husband or wife, but they do with their best friend. They've been friends from childhood. According to that definition, can you call that adultery?
Can you give an example?
Of what?
What they're talking to their friend about and they're not talking to their partner about.
Let's say that something at work happened and she was really hurt.
So it's a work-related issue. And the friend doesn't work with them, they're not work colleague. And they would say, I'm going to speak to my friend about this and I'm not going to speak to my partner about this. Why would they not speak to their partner? That they had a bad day at work.
You can say it's just not the same. The response I get from my friend is not the same as the response I'll get from my spouse.
I think that meets the criteria of adultery, yes. Unless you married a really rubbish person.
When you asked me to make an example, why? Because I'm going to assume that it's not just all that. I'm going to come to a place where I assume that, which is wrong, I think.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
When you and I married, you knew that I was a football fanatic. And I knew you weren't. So you knew every weekend I'm going to go with my mates and watch football. And you're not part of that. That's not adultery. A question over there. Monica?
I want to stick to the model of heterosexual couple. According... Oh. Chcem sa držať toho modelu heterosexuál. According to what you said, podľa toho, čo si... we consider adultery if I have a close female friend that I share my things with. Or we would have to say that it's not an adultery when I have a close male friend that I share my things with. Understand correctly?
Yes. That wasn't your question. Okay, yes.
I have a follow-up.
Could I give it to just Regina? Because we're running out of time.
I've got a question. You said something like there are no types of adultery, it's one. Can you clarify that?
I don't understand your question.
A moment ago, on the type of adultery, I heard you said something like there are no types of adultery, like sexual or...
What I said was, if you have all these strange ideas, like many of you have, you'll end up with only one definition. If you believe that there are two types of adultery, physical and thoughts, sexual and emotional, if that's what we assume, then when you get to the friendship one, you need to apply the rules properly. And the problem isn't the gender or the attractiveness of your friend. It's the emotional attachment that you've made with them now. And to insert the threat of sex into that model breaks this idea. Which is why I suspect, I can't remember his name, the person at the back and others of you put question marks with thoughts. That's why, as a group, there's no tick there. Because you're all fixated, many of you, not all, about sex. And I would suspect that's why many of your marriages aren't working well. And I've said publicly, maybe privately, to single people who sometimes sound sex-starved, that you are headed for destruction. Because marriage isn't about sex, it's about a relationship. A holistic relationship with somebody. That's what you all really need. Sex is, some added bit to that. But I want us to see by the answers that we've got that most of us are fixated with sex. I'm not saying I'm right, but if you just take what I've just said about how many of you view it compared to how I said relationships should work, marriages should work, you'll know why I said prostitution isn't adultery. And why I said porn isn't adultery. And thinking about your boss at work when you masturbate isn't adultery. If you were to conceptualize what marriage is meant to be about. Monica. And then over here.
This makes me think that we cannot have close friendships.
That's the same argument that Tina made. Nowhere have I said that we can't have other relationships. You wouldn't argue that you can't kiss somebody or hug them. So that's a sexual act. Kissing is a sexual act. So if it depends, that's the same with your friends. It depends. I'm not saying friendships are wrong. You know when a kiss crosses a line. And I'm saying when your emotional attachment crosses a line, at some point you know that, Our conversation isn't about knowing when you've crossed the line. It's about accepting that there is a line. That's what I want us to accept. And if there is a line, you know that relationship is bad. Just like you know, you can hug someone here at camp, and that does not mean anything bad. Have I answered your question? Over here.
I think I'm missing something. Because when when we were speaking about porno, prostitution, and bestiality, and also self-pleasure, that we can't put them in the category of adultery. I think on my part, I am missing something. In my mind, somebody who is doing a prostitution, to me, I think they are committing adultery. So maybe you have to shed more light so that I can get rid of those thoughts which are not God.
Sure. But it won't happen today.
Okay.
In 12 minutes. Put your hands up if you have any questions. Okay, as you're moving on, I want to make a point. Let's go back to prostitution. So, I want to be clear. All these crosses where it's saying not adultery is not talking about the morality or the lawfulness or the goodness of anything. I've already said KFC is not good, but it's not adultery. And if I said, or if I suggest that porn isn't adultery, I'm not saying it's good. If we're clear on that. So, this prostitute, she's married, children. Her job is to earn money by sleeping with strangers. Do you think she's committing adultery? But the man that's sleeping with her, he's committing adultery. I'm not sure how that works. We've got two couples. This is the customer or the client. This is the prostitute. You said he's committing adultery, but she's not. What did I miss there? So, another thing I want to ask is this prostitute in 2024 slept with 1,000 men. So did she have 1,000 relationships? So this man slept with his wife or his partner 100 times. Don't compare yourselves. And then he slept with the prostitute once. So when he slept once, did he develop a relationship with her? No. And then he slept with another prostitute. Did he form a relationship with her? No. So he slept with prostitute one twice. And then he said what? I like her. However it works, because I have no idea how these things work. He rang up, whatever they do, and he keeps on asking for her. Is it adultery now? What was the difference between now and just the one? Letwin. We'll wait for have your private conversations. We'll be respectful to Letwin.
No, the difference is that now there's a relationship.
Okay, but that wasn't your question. You had a question before that.
Answered.
Oh, it answered that. Ask the question and then tell us how it answered it, but don't tap the thing. They'll tell us off. You told me when to stop. Is it not working? It's not heard, Mark? Oh, so? Okay. Speak right close.
I wanted to ask for your opinion. Okay, thanks. On porn, prostitution, bestial self-pleasure, since you had clarified that you said your opinion is that it's not adultery, but I also wanted to... Okay.
I'll repeat what you've done so far. I don't need to? You got it all? Okay, so these 4 things, 1, 2, 3, 4, I said, in my opinion, they're not adultery. And that's as far as we got, I think.
Ask if they are good or when, or it's not cheating at all.
If it was cheating, they would all be bad. Because cheating is bad. You okay with that answer? But if you're going to say, are they all bad? I think that's a different question. Some are bad, and some are not bad. Did you translate that? Sorry? Yeah, but did you translate what she just said? Go ahead.
Please tell me which ones are bad and which ones are not bad from that list.
We'll put B for bad, G for good.
Yes.
Put your hands up to help Letwin if pornography is bad. Put your hands up if it's good. Just checking what they're doing over here. So some people think that pornography might be good. So someone thinks if your partner is sexting you, that might be good. It is what it is, which is the objectification, even if it's your spouse. Maybe. We'll put bad. Prostitution. Bad? Good? I'm not even going to ask for that one. Your pet does not deserve to be treated that way. Self-pleasure. Bad? Good? All the people over here that didn't put their hand up. Why? Why did you not put your hands up? Don't you know? Or you're not sure? So you're not sure if it's good or bad? If you could be persuaded that it was okay, would you do it? I'm going to say good, but there's a core group that say they think it's dirty. We'll put it that way. Does that help you, Letman? 2 minutes. Anyone who hasn't given their opinion, hasn't spoken, put your hands up high. Last question of the last presentation of the last camp. Oh. They keep on asking all the questions. That's why I want to offer it to the rest of you. Oh. Deborah.
Can you make it clear if you see you are married and you get into physical, I mean, you menopause. You know menopause?
Yes.
Yes. Then you can. The desire which you had before naturally by God's way, it disappear.
You want me to translate? So let me stop there for a moment. When a woman goes from premenopause to perimenopause to postmenopausal, her sexual desire may fluctuate, may change, but it doesn't die. There are millions of women in the world, postmenopausal, of your age, who love sex, dream about it, and desire it.
The individual. Everybody, you cannot just unify. It is individual life. God gives individual. You cannot say, me, I'm looking like this one, I'm looking that one, or the body is the same way.
Just want to make it clear that sex is not related to age or one's hormonal status. Because men, in their own physicality, experience the same hormonal ups and downs or phases of life. if I can just say, their experience is the same, even though they're a different species, which I know they're not. So, menopausal women, they need to be educated, I think, so that they will begin to explore their own sexuality and their own physical needs. And I think if menopausal women were educated in such a way, a lot of the FGM and other practices that happen in many parts of the world, which are all controlled and managed by those same menopausal women, it could begin to change. If an older woman embraced her needs for sex, she would be better placed to support the sexual needs and education of young women. I think that's a subject that's not discussed enough. And the way I've just framed it, which is just one version, that the change needs to come by older women having more sex. I had a question just behind Monica. Sorry, you're not satisfied? Sexually or? Can I make it clear?
Because one day online, I had a question for you, and the way you answered me is far different. So we will talk.
Deborah and I will talk.
I
Only.
asked the question, and you answered me different.
We run out of time? Yeah. I know I had some questions, but please ask them afterwards, offline. Sorry, Zoomers. I want to... This is not our... We have one more study this evening. But it's a Q&A. So this is my last presentation. I want to thank everybody for welcoming me here. Thank everybody who joined us online. We had a really wonderful time. And all those people that weren't able to come, you were missed. I hope we've all been educated, at least to some degree. And I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm speaking on behalf of all the teachers, all the hard work that they've done to try to share their thoughts and educate you. And it would be remiss of me not to thank the leadership team who have done so much work. And they're physically exhausted at the moment. But we thank you. Let's pray. Holy God, each of us who's bowed before you need and want to understand how relationships should work, not only with their partners, but with their parents, their children, their friends, and even in their secular employment. The only place that we can understand how these things work is by intelligently reading your word. Help us to do that. Help us to talk to one another with honesty and frankness, so we might have a better understanding of who we are and how we can serve one another. In Jesus' name, amen.